Good evening. We are all proud to be here, even though I do not speak your language. I believe that no one will go home tonight and think that the information you will be getting today is something that you can easily forget. Sometimes the truth is not on the front page of the newspaper. Sometimes something very important starts with a few people, like tonight. Sometimes Dr. Niedzwiecki, Mr. Kowalczyk, myself speak to several hundred people, sometimes several thousand people. But this is our first evening, our first presentation in the Czech Republic. And we are aware that the information we bring is so strange, so provocative, that the first reaction may be denial. It can't be true. Or something else is behind this, some other motives that are not shown. Well, we let you be the judge after this evening. Thank you again for coming. My lecture has the title, Roadmap to a New Europe by the People, for the People. Europe, in the newspaper that we distributed, was an important topic. We are on the eve of an historic event that affects 400 million people across Europe. Yet hardly anyone knows the rules and the mechanisms of what is going on. So my lecture will be focusing on those details. The historical origin of the pharmaceutical cartel, I call it the pharmaceutical drug cartel, the oil and drug cartel behind World War II. If we want to understand what's going on today, we need to have this flashback into the past. From Nuremberg, the Nuremberg war crime tribunals, to Brussels, and then the last segment will be the lessons of history for today. If we start about the history of the pharmaceutical investment business, we need to go back about 100 years. At that time, a US group by the name of Rockefeller Trust controlled about 90% of the oil business in the world. They made billions of dollars. And they were so greedy that they wanted to get ever more. So in May 1911, the Supreme Court of the United States said, enough is enough. You are a group of criminals. You need to be dismantled. By November 15, 1911, we, the Supreme Court of the United States, want your company to be gone. Of course, these men were so mighty that they didn't care about the verdict of the Supreme Court. What they did is they started a foundation, but not an educational foundation. It was nothing else than a masquerade. So the money they made from the oil business, they gave into this foundation. But this foundation was promoting a new investment business. And the investment business was the business of diseases. These guys, these corporate executives, for the first time defined the human body as a marketplace. You can make money from that, but only as long as the people are sick. So, what they did is, they said, we need to do two things to build a global investment business, today known as the pharmaceutical industry. First, we need to patent the drugs that we develop. Natural remedies that are not patentable have no value in this world. We need to work exclusively with chemicals that we can patent, so we own them. We control them. We control everything that's happening with these products, the world over. And secondly, and most importantly, we cannot allow that these drugs actually cure diseases, because the diseases are the marketplace. This may sound very strange to you, but when you go home and you think about it, many things that you read and that you see will suddenly become clear. So, these men, out of a criminal cartel, started what is known today as the pharmaceutical investment business. And the patented drugs, where they define the royalties on, so if you have a patent, you define the royalties, that is the profit. They eliminated the competition from non-patentable medicines, and lo and behold, 100 years later, 90 years later, we look back and we have to recognize, we have to realize in shock that this is a giant global fraud business. This industry in Prague, in Bratislava, in Berlin, in New York, takes out four-colored advertisement, takes out TV infomercial and says, we are here to provide health. But the entire business is based on the continuation of the opposite, disease, because disease is the marketplace. So they advertise health, but they deliver more diseases. We'll come to that in time. And because they were criminals, they were continuously thinking along criminal activities. So when the Spanish flu came along in 1918, they said, wonderful. This is the opportunity for us to take over the entire healthcare sector in the United States. Because we are the experts. You are just the politicians. We tell you what to do. We tell you what medical research you have to conduct. We tell you what medical education in the medical schools has to be. We tell you what drugs need to be produced. And we tell you how the healthcare system has to look. And within about 10, 15 years, they actually controlled the healthcare system.